Hi, I'm Chef Whitney Aronoff, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite recipes that I prepare for my personal chef clients, and it's my crispy baked airline chicken breast with 11 magic herbs and spices. So let's get started. This is really not just one of my favorite things that I make for my clients, it's one of my favorite things that I make for myself. So my Sunday routine is to always go to my local butcher store. I get what I need for my clients, I cook for them that day, and then I come home and I cook for myself and I do my own personal meal prep. And that always includes preparing some airline chicken breasts, because this is just a great protein that you can do in advance, have in your fridge, and then whenever you're preparing a salad or you just need dinner quickly during the week, you have a nice piece of protein in the fridge. It's good for 7 days, and we pack on a bunch of organic herbs and spices, so it's also flavorful and has lots of antioxidants and health benefits for you. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I make it for my clients and for myself. So to get started with this recipe, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a full-size baking sheet. You'll need parchment paper, paper towels. You'll want a cooling rack if you have that available. This is going to be the secret trick to make your chicken extra crispy without frying. And then lastly, you'll need a way to toss your chicken in that beautiful spice. So you'll want a large mixing bowl or you'll want a large plastic bag. So this recipe uses airline chicken breasts, and that might not be a term you're familiar with. So a piece of airline chicken breast has the bone in and the skin on. So if you look at the back of the chicken, you can see it looks just like a chicken breast. The only difference is the skin and the bone. And so you're gonna get a more flavorful and moist piece of chicken because now the meat's protected. The skin's gonna trap in the moisture. You're gonna get a more health supportive chicken breast as well because you have the bone in. That's gonna seep more nutrients into your chicken breast when you're cooking it. It's also gonna add a lot more flavor. And then you have this added bonus of a little meat on the bone that you get to enjoy afterwards, giving you more opportunity to consume collagen and get the parts and pieces of the chicken that are really gonna provide you more energy. So this is what an airline chicken breast is. I love Jadori's airline chicken breasts. They have their regular feed and organic, so you have options. And you can usually find this at a local butcher shop or you can order it online directly from Jadori. So all I do is pat dry all of our chicken breasts here. And the reason I do that is because that's gonna help the spice collect onto the skin and the breast of the chicken. If your chicken is still super moist and wet, you're just gonna get a bag or a bowl filled with liquid and spice is gonna collect onto the bowl or the bag, not onto the chicken. So we're gonna give it a really good pat, a really good dry. You'll notice I didn't wash my chicken. When you wash your meat or your chicken, you're just spreading bacteria all over your sink and all over your kitchen. And at the end of the day, you're gonna be cooking your chicken at a high temperature. There's nothing to wash off and there's nothing to kill. If you're using a great quality piece of meat, you're gonna season it and cook it right away. No need to wash. That's kind of an old wives' tale, so don't stress about that. So my favorite way of seasoning my proteins for my clients is by using a plastic baggie. And you wanna use a plastic bag that's really well reinforced. So I would say most of the produce bags from the grocery stores are a little too thin of plastic, so you're better off with a Ziploc or one that you can pick up at your butcher shop. You can also order these on Amazon. Your other option is using a large mixing bowl. So use whatever you have available. I'm more happy with my results when I use a bag, but I understand if you don't want to use any plastic, because I go back and forth on that as well. So I use my Starseed 11 magic herbs and spices by my brand High Vibration Foods. I always work with it at a tablespoon at a time. That's why I put the spice in such a large jar, is I want you to be able to measure out how much you're using, because that's how I do it at home. It really helps me, and I think it'll help you too, just get more comfortable with cooking in the kitchen. And then when I use the spice and prepare my chicken, I do 2 at a time because I really want to season the chicken really well. And so I'll throw in 2 solid tablespoons. and mix it up really, really well. And I just keep going until there's kind of no excess spice. And that's how I get it started. So what I'm going to do is pick up this chicken. I'm going to put down my baking sheet, and I'm going to keep layering things up. So I actually think about where I'm putting the chicken on my baking sheet. If you roast a lot of vegetables at home like I do, you'll notice your vegetables on the outside get more brown than your vegetables on the inside. So when I think about where I'm placing my protein on a baking sheet, I think about the parts that I want to get the most brown, that I want to cook through the most. So I always try to put the section with the bone on the outside because that's the area that I want to brown and cook through a little bit more, get even more crispy, is the spot with the bone. So I do always keep that in mind when I'm putting down the chicken. So I'm just going to keep going, 2 breasts at a time, until I filled up this whole sheet. The trick to making your airline chicken breast, or if you're going to do this with chicken thighs, or maybe even drumsticks and wings, what makes it really, really crispy after baking it is the skin on the chicken, the heavy amount of seasoning, and then having the protein elevated on a cooling rack. So that's going to allow the hot air in the oven to go all the way around the protein. That's going to crisp up the skin for you. If you don't have a cooling rack, no problem. Sometimes I don't do it with a cooling rack because I just don't want to have another thing to clean. So you're still going to get a great result, but it definitely elevates the chicken just a little bit. So give it a shot, try it both ways. Cooking it on the cooling rack, cooking it straight on the baking sheet, and figure out which way you like best or which one works best for your lifestyle and how much time you have cleaning up in the kitchen afterwards. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the savory spice blend, which is called 11 Magic Herbs and Spices. It's filled with exactly that, 11 organic herbs and spices, and I just thought I'd share with you the ingredients in it. It's a pretty unique blend. It uses all organic paprika, white pepper, garlic, dried mustard, ginger, celery, black pepper, oregano, thyme, basil, and then one thing that's really unique about the spice blend is the sea salt. So we use Redmond real salt in our spice blends. They come from an ancient seabed in Utah. It is a beautiful sea salt filled with lots of different colors. So you'll see pink, you'll see white, you'll see all different layers of peach. And we think it's really important to use real sea salt in our spice blends because it makes it more minerally rich for you. And then of course, all of our spices are organic. We consider spices superfoods. So it's really important for us that you're getting fresh spices and herbs that are going to be nutrient dense and support your health and well-being on top of the protein or the vegetables that you're eating. One thing that was really important to me in creating the packaging for our high vibration foods spices is how large the jar is that holds and contains the spices. And that's important to me because I like to be able to measure how much I'm using so that way I can make recipes. So that way I can recreate what I made for dinner a few nights later if I liked it a lot. So we have our chicken all set up on our baking sheet. You guys can see that there's space in between all the chicken breasts. It's not too cluttered. And that's, again, so we can get great air circulation around the chicken because what we're aiming for here is really, really crispy skin. So once you have it all set up, you can just take it over, put it in your oven, 400 degrees convection setting. Convection setting means that there's a fan in your oven that's going to rotate the air around the chicken, supporting our crispy skin. If you don't have a convection setting on your oven, just pop up the heat to 425 and you'll be good to go. We're just going to put them in for 25 minutes. That's all it takes. Another trick to keep in mind is you definitely want to try to take your chicken out of the fridge about 30 minutes to an hour before you season it and bake it. It's going to allow it to cook more evenly versus if it's straight out of the fridge, it's going to be ice cold. So it's going to take a longer time for the center of your chicken to get cooked through. So a little tip to help support faster and more even cooking. So that's all it takes. Put it in the oven, 25 minutes, and you're good to go. All right, so I know it's done when I've gotten really, really good browning on the chicken. I know it's good to go. I like to do it 25 minutes. I feel like the chicken breast is cooked perfectly and is not dried out. If you really like your chicken cooked through, feel free to leave it in for a few more minutes, for 26, 28 minutes. But I'm usually pretty happy with it right at 25. So what I do is I just let it sit and cool for a solid 30 minutes, and then I'll put it away in my Pyrex containers, and so it's good to go for meal prep. I'll put it in the fridge. If I'm serving this to one of my clients on a salad for lunch, I still let it sit for a nice 15 minutes before I slice into it, just so you don't burn yourself while slicing, because it is quite hot right out of the oven. And so that is it. This is Airline chicken breast with Starseed Kitchen's 11 magic herbs and spices. I know you guys will enjoy. Please send me comments and share with me how you guys use the spice or how you guys enjoyed it on your chicken.